Writer-director of the Terrifier franchise, Damien Leone, has promised us something controversial within the first 5 minutes. You thought Terrifier 2 was disgusting, well, you would be woefully mistaken if you thought he wasn't going to try to up the ante with Terrifier 3. With our first look at the film coming out tomorrow, let's talk a little bit about what this opening could entail.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have less than 24 hours to purchase Don't Get Stabbed with my promo code KillJoyJake at checkout, so you save 10% off your order. You gotta do it before midnight or you're not gonna get the 10% off. It's also a horror-themed card game, so if you don't want Halloween to be over after tonight at midnight, you can keep the ball rolling with this bad boy, which is fun for the whole family. Don't Get Stabbed is a card game where you get to kill your friends and family for pretend. It's for 3 to 5 players and on average has a 15-minute playtime, so it's quick. One player is the killer, the rest are victims. Everyone takes turn drawing cards, and if a victim gets 3 stab cards, they die, but they can use action cards to avoid getting stabbed. You might even get a combo card and have a chance at escaping. But the killer has special powers. If the killer draws a stab card, they can put it back in the deck wherever they want, meaning you could get stabbed next. The killer can also use action and combo cards to thwart victims' attempts at staying alive. Get this game now while you have my promo code KillJoyJake. It's at the bottom of the screen here. It gets 10% off your order, so you don't even have to pay full price for it. Come on! So getting into this, Damien Leone recently had an interview with Joe Blow talking all about Terrifier 3, and oh boy, he spilled some interesting beans. Some of those beans include that his biggest influences, practical effects-wise, are Tom Savini and Greg Nicotero, the absolute best people to ever do it, pretty much. Damien also admitted to wanting to do a decapitation sequence in one take, which would be super difficult to achieve and would have to be some kind of crazy marriage of VFX mixed with practical. Now, while all of those things are very cool, they're a little trivial, so let's just get to the meat and potatoes of this video. We're hungry for the full course, Jake. We had to sit through that Don't Get Stabbed ad. So in this interview, Damien talks about how they had these big meetings with a bunch of big companies talking about Terrifier 3, but he has this worry that maybe Hollywood studios would want to sanitize his product, which obviously no one wants to see a PG-13 Terrifier film. That would blow. The full quote reads, "I remember having meetings with people. I got to meet with studios like legit Hollywood studios who wanted to make Terrifier 3. But before I even had a script, just based on the success of part 2 and just having meetings and getting the feel that I was going to have eyes over my shoulders and they were concerned about the levels of gore and this and that. I knew, and not having seen my script or having any idea what I had in mind, I knew they weren't going to let me make this movie based on the first 5 pages. That's how insane Terrifier 3 is. The first 5 minutes of this movie, a studio would never let me film what I plan on filming. So mark my words, I guarantee you the first 5 minutes of this movie is going to be very controversial. But that's not even the big kill scene. First of all, I just have so much respect and admiration for Damien Leone. Not only do I love his movies, but I love the content of his character. He's not going to sanitize his film, even if it means making more money. Right now, Damien Leone has the chance to make a shit ton of money, and he's not taking that because he wants Terrifier 3 to be a good product. He could sell it to a studio and they could pump out some PG-13 garbage, but he's not going to allow that. This could be the start of a whole new wave of indie horror that's actually really good, and we're not just making movies based off of popular IPs to put butts in seats. Because frankly, Jake is getting really sick of that, especially after this year. I was already the most excited for Terrifier 3 out of any upcoming horror project out there, but this gives me so much more faith in the project than I already had. He also talks about the first 5 minutes being controversial. The word controversial coming from Damien Leone has me scared. We're talking about the man who filmed a sequence where a girl completely naked gets cut from cooter to neck. What the fuck could be controversial to this man? I imagine we're going to do a similar thing to Terrifier 2, where we pick up right where we left off from the previous film. Or maybe not. There's actually a pretty good argument that we won't do that with the next film, considering that where we left off, Art the Clown doesn't have his body at the moment. We may actually flash forward a little into the future, maybe after Art the Clown has regenerated his body, if that's one of his powers or not. He also says that the first 5 minutes, while yes, being very controversial, will not be the big kill scene. So what could that possibly be? Well, I have pitched in the past that Art the Clown would viciously attack a mall Santa in front of a bunch of children because that would be so fucking awesome. And once again, it could be a step up from what we've done in the past, because that's a big thing with Terrifier 3. Damien Leone has promised us in the past that somehow they're going to top the bedroom sequence from the previous film. So how do you do that? Instead of Art the Clown trick-or-treating, going up to suburban houses looking for new victims, what if he goes into a shopping mall where a mall Santa is having a bunch of of children ask for some presents. Can you imagine Art the Clown standing in line waiting to meet Santa, and then when he finally gets up there, he just hacks him to pieces in front of a bunch of children? That's hilarious. I think I need to see a shrink. It's gotta be something like that, considering it's a holiday horror movie. You're gonna have some gimmicky, like, Christmas stuff going on in there. I hope the whole movie's not that, but maybe one sequence of that. Come on, yeah, of course. Damien also reinforces a point he made about going back to the dark and gritty tone of the original Terrifier, which personally I see as a massive plus. So many horror franchises, especially the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which in a lot of ways is very similar to Terrifier, loses its edge almost entirely by the time you get to, like, entry number 5. That every movie gets just a little sillier, and we are already starting to see that with Terrifier 2 from Terrifier 1. While yes, the story structure was much better in Terrifier 2 versus Terrifier 1, it's definitely a goofier and more like supernatural, fantastical movie. I loved that about Terrifier 2, but I'm glad that for Terrifier 3, they're not just making the same movie again. It's almost like they're course correcting before something goes too far overboard one way or the other. We don't want Terrifier 3 to completely lose its edge. I mean, this franchise got its start from being so brutal and so visceral with its kills. Damien Leone is very conscious of that and is making extremely good choices for the future of this franchise. While it makes me very happy, it also does make me a little sad that we don't have more filmmakers like Damien. The last thing I really want to touch on is that we're also going to see our characters back in this next film, according to Damien, dealing with the trauma of the previous film. So in a lot of ways, it's going to feel like a sequel script where Terrifier 2 kind of felt like the original in a weird sort of way. Besides Art the Clown, of course, the only character that really comes back from the previous film in Terrifier to Terrifier 2 is Vicky. It's going to be really interesting to not only see the surviving Shaw family members deal with the fallout of the previous film, but also to see how they utilize the character of Vicky with how they teased her at the end of Terrifier 2, possibly meaning that she has a more prominent role here in this next film. Damien also talks about wanting to explain the supernatural elements of Terrifier 2 a little more here in 3. Who is the little pale girl? Why does Vicky want to kill people now? Is she infected by whatever the Art the Clown demon virus thing is? Who is Sienna's dad? Maybe all of these things will be answered in the next episode of Terrifier. Oh, I cannot stress it enough when I say I just absolutely love everyone involved with these movies, and I just can't wait for Terrifier 3. I know it's going to be fantastic, and while I am very happy that it's Halloween, I can't wait for tomorrow. That Terrifier 2 screening is gonna blow my mind. Can't wait to see this trailer tomorrow. Your boy will keep you updated on Thursday with another big ol' video. How are you guys feeling about Damien Leone's comments regarding the future of the Terrifier franchise, though? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Terrifier 3 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. Please consider supporting me on Patreon if you want to support this channel further, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.